All right, I don't want to make it sound like I go there all the time, but I do have to say this. Hooters, if you ever go there, get the habanero wings if you like spicy stuff. Habanero wings, you can order them extra wet, which means extra sauce, and delicious, but yet extremely hot. Kind of changed my life a little bit, but they are good. All right, anyway, HOG gapped up on volume today, and this wasn't even on my watch list till I spotted it first thing this morning, right? Gapping up in massive volume, because I do, like, in the first 10 or 15 minutes, I do a volume scan, and just because I don't really want to trade in the first 15 minutes anyway, so I try to help add to our overnight watch list with things like HOG. And then it's coming down. Now, a stock that's got a nice gap or high volume and is strong, I usually look for a turn around and this is if I'm trading early. I'll switch to 2-minute candles, which is what I have up here, and I'll look for a turn around the 8-period moving average, okay? So HOG, and lo and behold, it went down, touched the 8, had this nice bottoming tail. So my idea was over this 2-minute candles high, 42.79, 42.63 stop. That's only 16 cents risk, and pretty quickly to 43.40, actually 43.39. So a 50-cent move, nice way to start the day on very little risk, and a nice trade. Again, as always, especially on an early trade, I'm selling into that spike, not trying to add to it. LLY, biggest one of the day, and here it is zoomed in on 2-minute candles. Now, one thing we do in chat is, and all of us know it, is if anyone spots unusual volume and price movement, please type it in. So on this one, I was the one that spotted it first. A lot of our members are really good at that, though, and it's nice to have a heads up because that's where a lot of setups come from, right? Unusual volume out of nowhere. So LLY had good news today, and these are 2-minute candles. So you see unusual volume and price movement, all right? So I typed out LLY volume. I don't know exactly where the price was, maybe somewhere around 48.70, 48.60, something like that, when I typed out LLY volume. Now, some of our members, and we have a way, and I'll show you on HUN later in the video, of taking these trades just by jumping right in. There's just a little math you've got to do first, and you got to look at the chart and so on. But having said that, I didn't want to chase this. I felt like it had already made a big move, okay? Plus, it's got, it's a pharmaceutical, so you always want to make sure that the news is for real. But look at this move. And I had members just take that right off the bat when I typed in volume. I didn't, but I did make a call when it started to come back down. Again, talked a little bit about this before. It's in the what I call the buy zone here between the 8 and, I'm sorry, excuse me, yeah, between the 8 and the 20 moving averages using whatever time frame candle you're using. In this case, I was using 2s. I call this area between the 20 and the 8, this area right here, I call that the buy zone, all right? I'm not just going to blindly buy it here, but this is where I'm looking for a turn, okay? So at this point, I called it over this red candle here, LLY. So you can see the long right there, and the stop's going to go below this candle. We call that a 2s setup from the buy zone, all right? In other words, you've got a nice move. This thing has room to run on the daily, and so it's a way to find our way in, and it's moving at the time in our direction, so we're not falling into the falling knife category, okay? So LLY, 49.27 entry, stop 19 cents below, and so if you missed this initial move and felt like you missed the trade, no, you had a great way in right here, and from 49.27, it makes it to almost 51, moves almost $1.70 in our favor on 19 cents risk. So that was my best idea of the day. I'm trying to go over all of them though. I said I would talk about HUN. HUN, again, another example of something I didn't even have on watch, and then you get this volume spike. Okay, now at the time I spotted this, HUN was about 15.52. In other words, none of this was here yet, all right? Keep in mind, this is a 5-minute candle. None of this was here yet. It was just everything below here. It was a solid green candle on big volume, and I said I like this as a Tokyo idea, 15.52. We call it Tokyo trade. Don't ask why. It's a long story. But and the stop is always going to go below the volume candle, okay? So here's the theory. The theory is HUN must have just had good news, and we can buy it at 15.52, and we know our stop is going to be 15.37, so it's only 15 cents risk. The theory is it had good news, and we're going to try to get in early. Keep in mind, a stock with really good news can run for hours or even days. And so when we're talking a couple minutes into this volume spike, it's worth the risk. But you always do the math and say, okay, if I'm buying this at 15.52, I know I'm going to stop it at 15.37 because it could have been bad news that originally was deemed good news, and it can roll right back over. Okay, so you always have to do the math and figure out how many shares to buy, expecting to get stopped out. So that said, 15.52, it didn't take very long to get to 15.90. If you're a day trader, you understand that almost 40-cent move over the course of 30 minutes to an hour is a nice move on a $15 stock. So HUN just came out of nowhere. Love it when that happens. VRNG, I gave a couple ideas on. It had an early volume spike. So then on this pullback here, and this was just kind of a verbal idea, I said, hey, this could work on what we call a 2 setup. In other words, the first break of a previous 2-minute candles high, which would have been 5.10, stop right below 5. Now, I didn't get that, but from there it went to 5.40, which, as you know, again, is a nice percentage gain. I didn't call an actual idea on VRNG until it was this little flag pattern right here. And my idea was just over this little pennant flag, wedge, whatever you want to call it. I think I said 5.32 with maybe 5.26 stop. I'm not positive about the stop. Anyway, even from there, it got through the high of the day and went over 5.50. So that's still a nice little percentage gain. In my notes, I don't think I talked about NTAP yet. NTAP, NTAP, we had on Bounce Watch. I'll take today's candle out of it because we had all these days down in a row coming near this 30 support, kind of a bottoming tail and increasing volume, which means I felt like it was getting close to a turn on the daily. So we had it on Bounce Watch today. And you see it didn't do much. But our entry idea was right around 30.45. If it gets up to this arrow here, my stop's going to go down here, and 30.45 was the idea I gave, and pretty quickly to over 30.80. Again, a quick trade, nothing to write home about. I feel like I'm leaving some trades out. It was overall a really good day considering. Q-Core was, I think, the one I'm thinking of. Q-Core, Jordy pointed out in chat this morning, one of our members, that Q-Core, if it gets over this spike here, over 2040, could get through the high of the day, and I agreed with him. And there's the entry, and it pretty quickly to 2080. Again, a seller into that, tighten the stop, and back out because it's Q-Core. But it did give a nice secondary move and went through the high of the day again. I didn't mess with it again because it's Q-Core. But anyway, I think that's it for the day. Overall, a very, very nice day considering it was a low-volume holiday. And I expected a lot of nonsense and sideways choppiness in the afternoon. That's exactly what we got. So we kind of cut out early and took our morning money and ran. So, all right, I've babbled enough. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.